Welcome to the channel, guys. My name is Jess. So Bitcoin has seen a massive crash over the last 24 hours, going all the way down to 112k. Today's daily candle close is going to be a critical one as we risk potentially printing some high time frame warning signs and a potential continuation down to 109,000. We're going to dive into the charts today and talk about all the recent price action from Bitcoin and what it means, including key levels, triggers, and everything else you need to be watching out for. Let's get into it. As always, before we dive in, make sure you guys smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, and sign up to my free Telegram for more regular Bitcoin updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in joining my VIP trading channel, be sure to message me down below on Telegram. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. Alrighty guys, so diving into the charts, let's really quickly talk about the recent price action before we jump into our analysis for Bitcoin. So we can see here over the last 24 to 48 hours, it has been a pretty brutal period for Bitcoin. We tumbled all the way down to $12,000 and the price is currently sitting around 12.6 or 112.6k. Taking a quick look at liquidations, it's been brutal for the last 2 days. We had $922 million in longs liquidated in the day before, in the single 24-hour period alone, and today, or in the last 24 hours most recently, we've had another $300 million in longs liquidated as well. So we can see this move was a little bit unexpected for the market. A lot of people got caught on the wrong side of this move, and the majority of the crash, that was, I guess, the important part and the brutal part, was the loss here of $115,000, tumbling down below the 200 EMA here, this red dynamic level of support, down to $13,000. Now that was also triggered by the loss of what was a bullish structure over here, being a descending channel. If we just map that in correctly, we can see that after dropping below 15k, Bitcoin actually moved up to retest and reject from the base of that structure there, and that is what ultimately led to the bearish continuation over the last 12 to 24 hours down to $12,000 or $112,000. Now, naturally, after a move like this, the big question is whether or not it's going to continue, whether the next bearish targets downwards, and what is going to trigger those bearish moves, and otherwise what is going to signal a reversal here for Bitcoin. So we're going to dive into our analysis now, starting off on the short time frame to discuss the key levels that we have here and those trigger points, and then move on to our higher time frame, specifically the daily chart, and talk about the upcoming daily candle close. It's in about 45 minutes, why it's so important, and what it's going to determine in terms of seeing that next leg downwards or potential next leg downwards, and higher time frame bearish targets. So starting off on the short time frame, we're on a 4-hour chart here. Let's talk about the current level that Bitcoin is sitting at as a level of support, because that is going to be the first bearish trigger that we have here on the short time frame if that support is lost. So we're sitting at $112,000, and we can see pretty clearly on this 4-hour chart why that level is so important. It was previously the all-time high before we had established 124k. And it was a level of resistance where over here in July, where we finally pushed above it, we triggered quite a volatile and explosive move upwards to create and claim that new all-time high at 124k. So it was a clear change of character level. It was a clear level of resistance. And now that Bitcoin is retesting it once again, we are testing it as a base of support. So if we manage to hold that level as at all levels of support, there is a potential that we see a small reversal. But if the level is lost, we can see right below it, we had this range of consolidation just below $112,000. Now, this range lasted from May 2025 until July, with a clear level of horizontal resistance at $110,000. Right, we can see 3 rejections and retests of that up the top there, and we had the base of the channel at $100,000 with 1 deviation low down to 98k. So essentially, if Bitcoin was to lose $112,000 here on the short time frame, what the immediate expectation would be a retracement down to that level of prior resistance, now support, at $110,000, and otherwise moving below $110,000, we re-enter this historical range once again. So that means traveling between 100 and 110,000. Now, before we get into any more analysis, guys, let's really quickly touch on one of the most important parts of being a successful trader, and that's managing your trading fees. So BTC has partnered with me to help you guys out and give you 15% off all of your trading fees. So if you'd like to support the channel and you're still really looking for a great non-KYC exchange with lots of listings, high liquidity, and security, BTC is definitely a great one to check out. And as a thank you for signing up under my affiliate code, you can get 10% off your VIP membership if you message me your affiliate code or your membership number when you check out your VIP membership. Thanks. Let's get back into the charts. And so essentially what we can see here is the price action would become distinctively much more bearish with the loss of $112,000 by entering that range, and particularly with the loss of $110,000 as well, right at the top of that prior horizontal range right here. Now, really quickly, before we move on to the high time frame, let's talk about what would signal a reversal here for Bitcoin on this short time frame. So what would we need to see here to actually mark out that Bitcoin has a potential to actually flip the charts here and flip the script in the narrative? Now, structurally, this descending channel we've mapped out here has now been invalidated, right? Instead of breaking up, we broke down from it, we retested and rejected from that channel, and it's kind of told us everything we need to know here in terms of the short time frame price action. So what we have left to look at in terms of determining a reversal here for Bitcoin on the short time frame is the horizontal levels, right? The relevant levels of supports and resistances. So over here, we can see the main trigger level for this entire crash so far has been $115,000. We had a sort of horizontal range right here starting at 116, ranging up to 120, with sell side liquidity down here at 115. That was our bearish trigger point, and now our first change of character level. So if we want to actually flip the script here for Bitcoin on the short time frame and see a potential reversal, we need to re-enter this prior range by first of all breaking back above sell side liquidity and into this sort of range of consolidation right here. That way Bitcoin actually has another chance at retesting 120k and potentially breaking above. But until we do that and flip $115,000, there is a high potential on the short time frame with continuous retests of support that we end up going lower instead. Now that is a wrap on the short time frame analysis. We've talked about our triggers, short-term targets, and potential reversals and what's going to mark out that reversal. Let's move on to the daily chart and talk about the higher time frame warning signs that are potentially printing from the recent crash. So looking at the daily chart here and pulling up the 50 EMA and the Gaussian channel, we can see that Bitcoin is testing some major levels, right? Not only are we retesting the horizontal at the prior all-time high, but also that Gaussian channel, the top of it, and the 50 EMA, and both of them are huge trigger levels on the daily chart. Now the Gaussian channel isn't often applied to the daily time frame, it's more a higher time frame indicator, so I would usually apply it starting from the 3-day chart and onwards or upwards, but on the daily chart it still has relevance when we're talking about potential corrections and potential further corrections, because generally speaking, when we enter the Gaussian channel here on the daily chart and we do not have other levels of available support, for example, structural support, which we have lost on the short time frame, and horizontal support, so with the loss of $112,000, we generally see a movement into the Gaussian channel, starting with the midline that's at $109,000 and the base of the Gaussian channel potentially even at $104,000 as well. So both of those would be relatively large moves, particularly 109k, because that would also mean that we fall below $110,000 as well, right? And that means that the movement, as I said on the short time frame, into that prior horizontal range, starting from 110 to $100,000, right? We re-enter that historical channel. So we've got about 15 minutes left for this current daily candle close. And what we're essentially looking for is for the price action in this candle to essentially respect 112k as a level of support, so close above that horizontal, as well as the Gaussian channel and the 50 EMA as well. If we do that, there is a potential here for Bitcoin to actually bounce, as they all act as dynamic levels of support, and support is support until it's not, right? But if we end up closing below that and specifically moving below $112,000, Moving forward, there is much more bearish confidence here where we are likely to then travel into this prior horizontal range and towards $109,000. Alrighty guys, that is a wrap on today's analysis. Thank you for tuning in for another episode. If you enjoyed it or you learned something, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel to get regular Bitcoin analysis every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. And sign up to my free Telegram for more regular Bitcoin updates. If you're a trader and you're interested in joining my VIP trading channel, be sure to message me down below on Telegram. VIP gives you exclusive access to my personal trading setups with exact entry points, targets, and stop losses. And sign up down below to beat you next to get 15% off your trading fees as well. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye.